Thank you for joining us tonight on 7 News. The ground war in Gaza is growing more intense. The Palestinian death toll climbs as Israeli troops take aim at Hamas. Meanwhile, the U.S. is asking for a pause in the fighting to help civilians. We have the latest on the conflict. Plus, the basketball season begins for the Champaign and Crimson. The Lady Cannoneers host Jamestown in the 2023 opener. But first, with just days left before ballots are cast, we hear from the 4 Watertown City Council candidates vying for a seat in the city's chambers.
You're watching the North Country's news station. 7 News this evening starts now.
Good evening, I'm Zach Grady. Brendan Straub is off tonight. Watertown City Council candidates are on the campaign trail. The election is now less than 48 hours away. 7 News reporter Chad Charette caught up with the candidates to get a gauge on their hopes for Tuesday's election and what their plans will be if they win.
Leonard Spaziani started Sunday morning at the Salvation Army's pancake breakfast. With the election right around the corner, he tells us he's optimistic, but he hopes to see a larger voter turnout come Tuesday.
I feel pretty good going into it. I mean, it all depends on the amount of voters that get out, and people are still changing their mind. It's one of those things. Got to vote. It's simple. And I'll talk to you Wednesday about the outcome.
If he's elected, Spaziani says he has his sights set on 2 main goals.
The water purification and the hydro, most important, because without them, the city cannot, as far as I'm concerned, the city cannot move forward.
On Davidson Street, TJ Babcock is going door to door, feeling optimistic as he speaks with potential voters face to face.
It's nuts. It's a lot of work. It takes up a lot of your time, but it's been pretty good. I think it's been very positive.
Babcock says he'll prioritize improving the city's water purification plant, but he would like to see better sidewalks put in throughout the city.
I think the time for talking is done. It's time to get it started. I want to see some things to where we can start drawing in some small businesses to the area to bring back some business to Watertown.
Ben Schoen is also out Sunday shaking hands with constituents, finding himself on East Flower Avenue.
Feeling good, confident with my door-to-door. The feedback has been overwhelmingly positive.
Similarly, the city's water issues are atop Schoen's priority list. However, he says he wants to right some wrongs he believes are plaguing the current council.
Spending is a big issue, and a lot of people are still talking about the decorum of our council, the way the meetings are run, and their dissatisfaction with that.
A long road is what Dr. Robert Kimball calls the campaign trail. The council candidate says he's confident in his chances at a spot on city council.
Today I'm feeling reasonably confident. But it comes and goes.
Kimball echoed the other candidate's sentiments regarding water. He says he'd like to address the zoo situation as well, though. He'd also like to see something done about the vacant properties throughout the city.
Walking around the city, it's hard to miss that there are a lot of houses that appear vacant and not well kept up, and I want to look more into that. I'm not sure exactly what the limits are of what the city can do in that case, but I do want to look at that a little more closely.
Early voting is already taking place, and Election Day is Tuesday, November 7th. Chad Charette, 7 News.
In world news tonight, the U.S. is pushing for a humanitarian pause in Gaza as pressure from the international community mounts. Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu, meantime, stressed again Sunday that Hamas terrorists need to release all of the more than 240 hostages they're holding in order for a pause to be considered. CBS's Christiane Benavides reports with the latest from the Middle East.
Secretary of State Antony Blinken making unannounced stops during his Middle East trip, meeting with Palestinian Authority leaders in the West Bank and the Iraqi Prime Minister in Baghdad, as the U.S. pushes for a humanitarian pause to allow more aid to get into Gaza.
This is a process. Israel's raised important questions about how humanitarian pauses would work. We've got to answer those questions.
There is concern that the current conflict could turn into a regional war. New video shows Israeli defense forces carrying out raids in the West Bank. While inside of Gaza, fighting continues to rage along with Israel's bombing campaign. Hussam Zamlot is the Palestinian ambassador to the UK.
Our president demanded an immediate ceasefire to the atrocious, murderous assault by Israel on our civilians, on our people. This is not a war against Hamas. It's clear since it started, it's a war against our people.
Israel says hostages must be released for a ceasefire to be considered.
Gaza is probably the biggest terror complex in the world. You have tens of thousands of armed terrorists, tens of thousands of rockets. This is what we're up against, and we have to uproot it, because if we do not, they will strike again and again.
Protesters continue to fill the streets across the country and around the world as pressure mounts for a ceasefire. Cristian Benavides, CBS News.
Fort Drum's 10th Combat Aviation Brigade found themselves off post Sunday to take a flight over Patriot Way. The 10th Mountain Division 310 General Support Aviation Battalion helped kick off Sunday's game at Gillette Stadium between the New England Patriots and Washington Commanders. You can see them practicing here before the game. The picture posted earlier on Sunday on the battalion's Facebook page. We'll head over to the Weather Center now. Kris Hudson in there this weekend. Kris, what can we expect as we start our work week off on Monday?
Well, Monday's going to be a nice day, and it was a nice day for us today as well. We'll have a few more clouds in our forecast tomorrow than what we did today, but as far as out there right now, really not a whole lot going on across the entire Northeast. First Weather is brought to you by Doors Plus and Garage Door Sales. As far as here closer to home, seeing some cloud cover moving back in. If we see some breaks in the clouds tonight, we have the chance to see the northern lights. You have to look to the northern horizon, and of course, we have to have those clear skies, which is going to be a concern for us as we go overnight. As far as lows, they will be dropping down into the lower 30s, right around freezing for us by early tomorrow morning. And then tomorrow, like I said, a little bit more cloud cover, becoming really windy as well. So more details on that coming up in just a few. Zach?
You know, I swear one of these days I'm actually going to go out and see those northern lights. I promise I am. Still to come tonight on 7 News, bringing fans together to discuss the artist's influence on pulp culture and beyond. Taylor Swift, the conference era, kicks off at Indiana University. Plus, Rob Krone's got your North Country sports report, including Syracuse hoops, Syracuse football, and the Section 10 girls swimming championships.
From the North Country's news station, you're watching 7 News this evening with Brendan Straub. Weekend weather with Kris Hudson. And your North Country sports with Rob Krone.
Today was a fairy tale for Taylor Swift fans. Indiana University enchanted Swifties from across the country over the weekend. Tay-Tay fans were ready for it as the university hosted Taylor Swift, the conference era. More than 1,000 Swifties put their name on a blank space to attend the sold-out academic conference. Discussions will include the singer's run affecting the global economy and tourism, also how her music hits different, shaping the music industry to what it is today. The conference will also tell a long story short, highlighting Taylor Swift not just as a person, highlighting Taylor Swift as a person, not just the famous pop star.
I think having a platform for scholars to speak about her and to have these scholarly discussions in this accessible way was just really important to us and really was something that we wanted to prioritize and do.
Friends, family, Taylor Swift, everything else, probably.
Taylor's version of her album 1989 is currently atop the album charts. She recently re-released the album 9 years to the day after it originally came out. The 52nd running of the New York City Marathon hit the streets of the 5 boroughs Sunday morning. Tamara Tola of Ethiopia took the top spot in the men's open division, finishing with a time of 2 hours, 4 minutes and 58 seconds, a course record. Helen Obri of Kenya won the women's open division, finishing the race in 2 hours, 27 minutes and 23 seconds.
The 52nd running of the marathon. We'll have 50,000 finishers coming in strong, representing 153 nations and all 50 states.
Marcel Hug and Catherine DeBrunner are the winners of this year's men's and women's wheelchair divisions. When we come back, Kris Hudson is in the Weather Center with your full forecast.
Now, tonight's weather.
Well, it was a nice day for us as far as seeing all the sunshine that we had. Temperatures, it was a little cool for us, and I'm sure all of us have been thrown back a little today because of the time change last night. But don't worry, it's not midnight out there. It's only about 6:15, and so It's not too terribly late this evening. As a matter of fact, the evening's just getting started. It is still young, 37 degrees out there, clear skies, and our dew point at 30 degrees. Speaking of 30 degrees, that's about where our lows will be ending up tonight. Most of us still in those 40s to lower or upper 30s. 40 degrees right now for you in Messina. 40 degrees also fine. 39 for Ogdensburg and 40 for Lowville. So temperatures aren't that bad. Like I said, by early tomorrow morning, we will be dropping down into those lower 30s. As far as today, we topped out at 49 degrees. You know what? I wish we had the weather that we had last year, because it was 77 degrees for us last year, and that was our record high. And do take note, I know everyone's so excited about this. Our sunset is now officially before 5 o'clock because of the time change last night. Notice the sarcasm there when I'm saying no, we're all so excited about it. As far as going towards tomorrow morning, like I said, lows will be right around the lower 30s. Some of us reaching that freezing point, and winds aren't going to be that bad tonight. They're not going to be that bad as we go throughout the day tomorrow, with highs in the upper 40s. Now, as we go into the evening hours, our rain chance starts increasing, and with that chance of rain increasing comes very breezy conditions. We're talking winds gusting upwards of 40 miles per hour by Monday night. So the wind is going to be the big story for us on Monday. So timing this out for you going overnight tonight, winds aren't bad. It's kind of where they should be for this time of the year. Tomorrow morning, they're still not bad, but notice we're starting to see more of a southerly flow for us as we go throughout the day on Monday. Winds start picking up with that as well by noon, gusting upwards of 20 miles per hour at times, so still not that bad. As we get into the evening hours, that's when they really start gusting up there towards the 30s, and then by midnight on Monday into Tuesday morning, we're seeing wind gusts upwards of 40-45 miles per hour. So it is going to be a very gusty night for us Monday night into Tuesday, and we will see a little bit of rain. And then as we go into Tuesday, we will start seeing some of those kind of dying off. So once again, tomorrow we are mainly dry. And then as we get into the evening hours, we start seeing the increase in rain, and the winds will start increasing as well. How does all of this look on our extended forecast? Well, Monday, really not that bad for us as far as any rain. Let's see. Why is my advancer not working? Let's see if we can go back. There we go. The 7-day forecast for you. It is going to be a little breezy for us on Monday during the day, and then winds increasing. Only a 50% chance of showers during the day, mainly in the afternoon, and then as we get overnight, that's when the rain starts increasing. Thursday, we have the chance of rain, snow, and yes, freezing rain. The freezing rain and snow will be Wednesday night into Thursday morning. Not looking like that big of a concern, because by the time we get into Thursday, our temperatures start rising upwards of 50 degrees. So yeah, we have that winter weather in the forecast.
So, Kris, I know your clicker jumped the gun a little bit on there. It spoiled the surprise, but I know on Monday you got a little something coming up if you want to let everyone know about it.
Yeah, so tomorrow we have a weather spotter class at Indian River High School. This is for anyone in the North Country to come join. It is free. We're going to be talking a lot about weather. As far as what we're going to be discussing, here's what John Hitchcock from the National Weather Service in Buffalo has to say.
Local spin on this training, so we have a lot of examples of previous storms. Of course, we had two pretty significant snowstorms last winter, one in November, and of course the Christmas blizzards. We're going to talk in detail about how those developed, how they impacted the area. So we'll discuss all the various ways we get impactful winter weather in the North Country. We'll talk about how to properly measure snow and ice, how to report to the National Weather Service, and how to stay safe during a winter storm.
All right, Kris, if someone wanted to attend that class tomorrow, how do they sign up?
Yeah, so you can go to weather.gov/buff/skywarn to sign up, or you can just show up. You don't have to register for the class, to show up and have a good time.
That was a lot of backslashes, so make sure to check out the 7 News homepage. We'll have that link up there for you, and we'll be right back after this. CBS's Christine Lazar with an eye on consumer news tonight, including the changes in the price per pound you'll pay for Thanksgiving this year, and the latest on the country's employment numbers.
There's evidence the job market is slowing. The Labor Department says 150,000 jobs were created in October, down from previous months. The recent auto workers' strike dragged down the number, but those employees are now returning to work after reaching tentative agreements with car companies. Toyota is recalling more than 1.8 million RAV4 SUVs over a potential fire risk. If the hold-down clamp on some replacement batteries isn't tightened correctly, the battery can move during a turn, causing the engine to short circuit. And there's good and bad news about this year's Thanksgiving feast. Turkey prices are down anywhere from 9 to 13%, according to a new report from Wells Fargo. The price of ham, however, is up about 5%. Fresh cranberries are 20% cheaper than this time last year, but canned cranberries are up almost 60%. And those are some of this week's top consumer stories. I'm Christine Lazar, CBS News, Los Angeles.
All right, Rob, I know Thanksgiving means football, but we got hoops tonight, too.
We are talking hoops and a whole lot more coming up next. Don't go away.
Now, your North Country Sports.
It's time for your Toyota Sports Report. The JCC women's basketball team opening their 2023-24 season today at McVean Athletic Center, hosting Jamestown Community College. The game marking the return to the bench for former Cannoneers women's basketball coach Jeff Wiley. First quarter off the break, Bridget Watson finishes with the lay-in, JCC by 2. In transition, Daylin Alcock lays in 2 of her team-high 18 points, JCC down 2. Then it's Delaney Wiley burying the 3 ball from the wing. She finished with 12 on the day. Corey Nichols finds the open lane and lays in 2, Lady Cannoneers by 8. Abby Raven gets the baseline jumper to fall as JCC rolls past Jamestown 63-41. The SU men's basketball team opens up its 2023-24 season tomorrow night at the JMA Wireless Dome as they play host to New Hampshire in a 7 o'clock tip-off. Syracuse wrapped up its preseason on Wednesday with an 86-61 win over St. Rose. Judah Mintz led 5 Orange players in double figures with 20 points. Syracuse wrapped up its exhibition schedule with a perfect 2-0 record, and first-year coach Adrian Autry likes what he sees from his team heading into the regular season.
You know, the one thing about this team is it's a competitive group. You know, they love to compete. They love to play. It's a group that is starting to really gel. Getting close. So, you know, the one thing about this is that I don't worry about if these guys want to play or not. So, and they're going to compete and they're going to fight. You know, this team has some fight. You know, our preseason has been very competitive, very spirited, and I see that still up until now, and I don't think that's going to change. I know that's not going to change. You know, whether we make baskets or not, I don't know, but I know we're going to compete this year for sure.
Section 10 Girls Swimming Championships held at SUNY Potsdam. 6 Section 10 records were set during the meet, including the 200 medley relay, won by Canton's Lexi Stuntz, Caitlin Redfern, Maya Thomas, and Tessa Alguire. Canton's Gretchen Braun in the 200 freestyle and the 100 butterfly, including state qualifier in both events. Canton's Caitlin Redfern in the 200 individual medley and 100 breaststroke, including state qualifier in both events. And in the 400 freestyle relay, Canton's Gretchen Braun, Skylar Sanderson, Caitlin Redfern, and Lexi Stuntz. Other winners included in the 50 free, Canton's Tessa Alguire, 100 free, St. Lawrence Central's Ella Bellinger, 500 freestyle and 100 backstroke, Canton's Lexi Stuntz, 200 freestyle relay, Canton's Mesa Moomin, Maya Thomas, Tessa Alguire, and Gretchen Braun. Canton, with 323 points, swam away with its 12th straight Section 10 title and now undefeated in 141 straight Section 10 meets. The big battle was for second place, with Potsdam overtaking St. Lawrence Central. Malone finished 4th, followed by Ogdensburg, Messina, and Gouverneur. Just 4 area high school football teams remain alive in the postseason after this weekend. In Section 3 Class B, the Indian River Warriors will be in search of a sectional title. The Warriors will meet New Hartford a week from today at the JMA Wireless Dome in the Section 3 Class B title tilt. Kickoff set for 3 o'clock. In the Section 3 Class C championship, the General Brown Lions will look to defend their title as they meet Adirondack at the JMA Wireless Dome, with kickoff in that contest set for high noon. 2 Section 10 teams begin state play this week. In Class B, the OFA Blue Devils will take on an opponent from Section 7 in regional action at Potsdam High School on Friday night at 7 p.m. And in Class C, the Gouverneur Wildcats will meet Saranac Central in a regional contest at Plattsburgh High School, kickoff slated for 7. The SU football team dropped its 5th straight game on Friday night at the Dome, falling to BC 17-10. Carlos Del Rio filling in for the injured Garrett Schrader threw 4 interceptions in the loss. The Orange offense reaching a new low with just 37 passing yards. Syracuse is the only team in the ACC without a conference win and next meets Pittsburgh at Yankee Stadium this coming weekend.
I think you've seen it. You know who we've got out there. You've seen our issues with who's on the field and who's not on the field. But we're not going to use those as excuses. We're going to line up and we're going to play every week. And we're going to do everything we can not only to make our family proud, but to make the community and the university proud as well. I believe in this football team. I would be very careful if you try to not believe in them because they have a tendency to get things done. And I still believe they're going to be able to get things done this year.
That's it in sports.
I don't know what was faster, the girls in the pool or you reading those highlights. We'll be back right after this. For Rob and Kris and the rest of the 7 News team, thank you for joining us tonight. We're back at 11.